help them because I'm here. They need me. Just call me. The Reaper will be here.
You were killed during the explosion.
No! No!
Mech is being pursued by the police for theft. When he thinks he can no longer escape, he is horrified to see blood flowing from his own body spreading across the ground, eventually forming a floating sphere of blood in midair. A mysterious figure suddenly appears before Mech. He tells Mech that if he pledges loyalty, his fate can be changed. To escape, Mech agrees to the request. In an instant, the mysterious figure transfers a strange energy into him. When the police arrive, Mech has vanished, leaving only a pool of blood on the ground. In another place, creatures from hell suddenly appear on the streets and begin brutally slaughtering people. However, all of this is only a prophecy seen by a monk during meditation. Realizing how terrifying the prophecy is, the monk decides to leave the mountain to find the guardian of the gate who can prevent the disaster. He arrives at a bridge and waits there. At the same time, a little girl, who has wandered away from her parents, accidentally walks toward the bridge. The girl is captivated by a strange blue butterfly, and the butterfly lands on the monk's finger. When her parents find her and try to lead her away, the monk calls the father back and says their meeting is not a coincidence but destined, and that he is the guardian of the gate of hell. Jake does not believe it and prepares to leave. But the monk adds that he is about to face an enormous trial, one that could cost him everything he has. Hearing this, Jake finds the monk strange. After that, he takes his wife and child to a shopping mall. At that moment, Mech also appears there. He happens to see Jake's daughter and stares at her with a calculating gaze. Mech then pulls out a gun and begins firing wildly into the crowd inside the mall. Jake immediately rushes forward with his gun raised, ordering him to drop the weapon. But when Mech realizes the man before him is the one he has been looking for, he opens fire without saying a word. Fortunately, Jake reacts in time and dodges the bullet. A girl nearby panics and calls the police, but within seconds, Mech shoots her dead on the spot. The crowd around them plunges into extreme chaos. At this moment, Mech holds a cloth doll in his hand, mumbling to himself in madness. Taking advantage of his distraction, Jake fires 2 shots, hitting him in a critical spot and knocking him down. A violent burst of flames erupts from Mech's body. A massive explosion echoes across Bangkok. Through the thick smoke, a terrifying monster emerges. Recognizing the danger, Jake's wife and daughter immediately flee the mall. But at that moment, a man suddenly goes berserk and charges at her. She strikes him with a stick, knocking him unconscious on the spot. Shortly after, inside an elevator, she encounters several more people in the same deranged state. The protective instinct of a mother surges fiercely. She quickly escapes the circle of crazed individuals and leads her daughter out of the mall. But just as they reach the outside, she is horrified to see people out there violently attacking each other for no reason. Jake and a mall security guard remain unharmed after the explosion. However, the bloodstains left on the floor look as if they have been there for a long time, not as though they were just created. At that moment, they hear a noise nearby. When they move closer to check, they discover it is a high school girl. But when she turns around, Jake realizes she is no longer human. The girl holds a dagger and charges forward, stabbing wildly at the security guard. Jake panics and fires several shots into her chest, but the bullets have no effect. The girl, with a distorted and twisted face, screaming and clutching her knife, rushes straight at Jake. Fortunately, Jake is a trained police officer and can handle the situation more easily. He quickly leaves the scene but notices the girl continues to pursue him relentlessly. In an instant, she climbs up the ceiling like Spider-Man and hangs upside down to watch him from above. Jake immediately raises his gun, aims at the ceiling, and pulls the trigger. He temporarily escapes her crazed pursuit. Jake then runs through the mall searching for his wife and daughter. At this moment, his wife and child have managed to hide inside a convenience store. Just as the woman prepares to call for help, a large man bursts in. She grabs a stick nearby and strikes him hard, knocking him unconscious. The mother and daughter continue fleeing in panic. Meanwhile, Jake keeps searching for his wife and child, while the monstrous schoolgirl continues chasing him. She suddenly leaps forward and blocks his path. Unable to take it anymore, Jake fights back ferociously. He finally ties her to a metal pillar and punches her repeatedly in a fit of rage. Looking at her twisted, pained face, Jake still cannot understand what on earth is happening. At this time, the mother and daughter escape onto a bus meant only for ordinary people. Only a few survivors remain. The driver takes them to a safe location to hide. Meanwhile, Jake eventually escapes the schoolgirl's pursuit and runs to the bus stop. Unfortunately, he heads in the wrong direction and misses his wife and daughter by only a few seconds. At that moment, a massive monster appears behind Jake, its body sparking with bursts of electricity. It locks onto its target and steps toward him. Using his combat instincts and superior physical strength, Jake tries to run and increases the distance to nearly 800 meters. But because he is unfamiliar with the area, he accidentally runs into a dead-end alley. As the monster approaches closer and closer, at the most dangerous moment, the door of a nearby house suddenly opens and a voice calls out, urging Jake to come inside to take shelter. It turns out the person who saved Jake is the same monk he met earlier. The monk tells him that this place is very safe and can protect him from the monsters outside. Hearing this, Jake finally breathes a sigh of relief. The monk begins explaining that the place they are in now belongs to another reality, a space between heaven and hell, a realm created for lost and wandering souls. Jake still does not fully understand and feels the monk's words are like a vague mist, unsure how any of this relates to him. The monk says that only Jake himself can find the answer. Jake suddenly remembers their first meeting, when the monk called him the guardian of the gate, and even Mech at the mall had called him by that same name. It turns out Mech purposely sought Jake out to force him to kill him, completing a blood ritual to open the gate of hell. Because of that, the creatures of hell can now freely enter the human world and even possess the bodies of those who are mentally weak to harvest their souls. And the root of this entire disaster originates from the monk's own father. The monk reveals that his father, named Witchian, was an extremely powerful dark sorcerer who specialized in controlling the souls of the dead. Mech was Witchian's loyal servant and had been ordered to kill Jake. At this moment, the gate of hell is not yet fully open, so they must quickly find a way to stop it, or the entire world will be destroyed. Jake still cannot understand why he became the guardian of the gate. The monk explains that Jake's mother died during childbirth, and Jake was born right after her passing, which occurred on the night of a blood moon. Because of this, Jake's fate from birth was different from that of ordinary people. However, Jake does not want to cooperate with the monk to close the gate of hell. He only wants to find his wife and daughter as soon as possible. The monk promises that once Jake completes his task, he will help him reunite with his family. But they do not have much time left. If the gate is not sealed soon, the monsters will continue devouring human souls, and Witchian's power will grow even stronger. Jake eventually decides to accept the mission. Meanwhile, Jake's wife and daughter finally make it back to their hotel. But outside the window, the city has already fallen into chaotic collapse. On the way to the gate of hell, the monk tells Jake about his father's past. Before becoming a dark sorcerer, Witchian had been an ordinary monk. But consumed by greed for power, he stole two sacred scriptures from the temple, the essence of eternity and the essence of soul-absorbing energy. Those scriptures were never meant for Witchian. After reading them, his mind became unstable and agitated. Because of this, he learned a method from the scriptures to take possession of another body, using magic to transfer his soul into the body of a young monk. But during the transfer, the young monk's mother struck Witchian unconscious, preventing the tragedy. Forced to interrupt the ritual, Witchian's soul was expelled from the real world. At that moment, Jake and the monk suddenly hear a young woman screaming from the upper floor. They rush up and see a monster attacking her. Jake charges to the rooftop to save her. He picks up a metal rod and strikes the monster hard, rescuing the girl. But when he looks closely, Jake is horrified to realize that the girl is the same person Mech had shot dead in the mall. She has no idea why she is here. While the two are still confused, the giant monster appears again. Jake grabs the girl's hand and runs, but she is too slow. The monster reaches out and grabs her, and Jake can only watch helplessly as her head is bitten off in an instant. Jake goes to find the monk. The monk tells him that the girl he saw was only a lost soul. In the space between heaven and hell, many souls like her exist. The giant monster appears specifically to devour these lost souls. At this moment, Jake realizes that he himself is only a soul trapped in this realm. The monk adds that only those who still have attachments and unresolved emotions become lost in this place. The monk can move in and out because of the magic his father left behind. The forbidden scriptures granted him the ability to cross the boundary between the two worlds. The monk tells Jake that he must return to the real world to save his wife and daughter. At the same time, in the real world, Jake's wife and daughter are sleeping in a hotel room. Hearing a knock on the door, the wife opens it and is shocked to see Jake standing there. She has no idea that the man before her is no longer the real Jake, but the monster that has taken over his body. Meanwhile, Jake and the monk in the spirit realm are facing a giant winged monster. Not long after, they run to an abandoned cinema, which contains a portal connecting to the real world. However, numerous hell creatures lurk around, waiting for a chance to attack. Just as the monsters prepare to charge, the monk's staff emits a blinding bolt of lightning, and both of them are transported back to the real world. But when Jake looks in the mirror, his face is that of another man. The monk explains that when a soul enters the real world, it must inhabit a physical body in order to act freely. The monk gives Jake an old-style pistol and a dagger for self-defense. Jake heads to the hotel where his family is staying. When he arrives, his wife and daughter are already gone. At that moment, Jake spots a small cloth doll on the floor, the same doll Mech had held in the mall. Suddenly, Jake hears his daughter calling for help from downstairs and immediately runs to check. When Jake appears before his wife and daughter, they do not recognize him because he is inside another man's body. At that moment, the fake Jake attacks from behind and pushes him to the ground. The two of them struggle fiercely. During the fight, Jake accidentally knocks the old pistol aside. The wife picks it up but has no idea who the real Jake is. Jake then makes a hand signal toward his daughter, a secret gesture only the two of them know. At that moment, in panic, the wife fires the gun and shoots the real Jake. He falls into the swimming pool, and his body dissolves into the water. Afterward, the daughter tells her mother that the man in front of them is not her real father, but the woman still refuses to believe it. Suddenly, a large blood-filled hole opens in the wall behind them, and Mech reveals his true identity, saying he will take the mother and daughter to a more perfect world. Jake, after being shot, is transported back to the spirit world. Although he has lost the old-style pistol, he still has the metal dagger. The two of them head toward an abandoned ancient temple. At this time, Jake's wife and daughter have also been taken there. Witchian reveals himself, removes his mask, and declares that he will use the blood of Jake's daughter to fully open the gate of hell. Meanwhile, the monk uses his staff to travel through time and instantly reaches Witchian's realm. Just as Witchian is about to take the girl's blood, Jake arrives in time. This time, Jake inhabits the body of another unfamiliar man, firmly grips the metal dagger, and launches into a fierce battle with Witchian's minions. The wife finally recognizes the real Jake. Even though he is inside another man's body, their bond remains strong in this critical moment. Jake breaks free, picks up the old-fashioned pistol from the ground, and shoots Witchian's hand. However, he is quickly overpowered by the minions. When his wife is in danger, Jake throws the metal dagger and hits the target, saving her, but he himself is gravely wounded by Mech. In the moment between life and death, the wife grabs the antique pistol and throws it to Jake. Together, their teamwork proves powerful, and Mech is sent back to the other world. Now only Witchian, the true final enemy, remains. The monk appears in front of him, trying to draw his attention. Jake seizes the opportunity and rushes behind Witchian, stabbing the metal dagger into his back. Witchian immediately loses his strength and collapses. Before dying, he tells Jake that the only way to truly close the gate of hell is for Jake to step inside it himself. This means Jake will be trapped in hell forever. After speaking, Witchian turns to ash. The gate of hell is spreading open, with only seconds left. Jake embraces his wife and daughter one last time, and in that moment, the wife finally sees his true form. Jake tells the monk, "Take care of my wife and daughter." Then he steps into the gate of hell, carrying sorrow but also the determination to save the world. The movie ends here. What do you think about this film? Leave your thoughts below. Goodbye and see you next time.